Stand by for great music. Bart Records presents Club Date. Tonight, we're on 3rd Avenue and 17th Street in the heart of New York City at the famous nightclub Fat Tuesdays. Here's your hostess for tonight's show, New York radio DJ, Pat Prescott.
Here we are in the middle of Manhattan with a hot new music group from Chicago. They call themselves Night on Earth, and they're really terrific. I think you'll like them. They've got a brand new CD. I have it here. It's called Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music. And tonight we have them all to ourselves on Club Date. Club Date is a brand new music program that's produced by Bart Records, a division of One World Records, one of America's hottest new record labels. So we'll be right back with one of my favorite songs from Night on Earth on Club Date.
That's the Lennon-McCartney song Rain, presented by Night on Earth, the hot new Chicago recording group. Listen to their unique treatment of Here, There, and Everywhere. And those are just 2 songs from an album full of wonderful music entitled Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music. This is one of the most captivating recordings in years. Warm, listenable. Night on Earth is a band with a definite pop, jazz, and Latin edge of their own. The album contains their bright new rendition of several classic Beatles songs. You can pick up a copy of Night on Earth's hot new album, Good Night, Good Morning, at your favorite record store. Or you can order right now. Call 1-800-742-9911. Use your major charge card. Just $14.99 for CD, $9.99 for cassette. To order by mail, send a check to Bart Records. Call now, 1-800-742-9911. 1-800-742-9911.
The band's been around for 4 years, mostly in the Chicago area. We've played out some and basically doing our own original compositions. Everybody in the band is a writer, and but for this particular project, we kind of took a different tact and oriented our stuff towards the music of the Beatles. In particular tunes that we really cared a lot about, things we grew up with.
What we wanted to do is select some of the songs that aren't heard that often, that nobody really has done very many covers of. More of the obscure things, things like Girl, I'm Only Sleeping, tunes like that, that the melodies are not on the tip of your mind, but when you hear them again, when you hear them, when we do them, they say, oh, that sounds familiar.
Cry Baby Cry, to me, because of its progression, kind of lent itself and the feel of it to a particular groove that I was looking for. Kind of a funk feel that the tune itself is basically verse, chorus, but we wanted something to stretch it out, especially to improvise on. So you have the normal verse, which is my background to it. But when we get to the actual improvisation section, we, instead of doing the changes that occur, the harmonic changes in the tune, we got into just a basically modal groove. That enables the rhythm section to open up and the saxophone player to blow, improvise a lot more, give us a lot more room, a lot more freedom rhythmically. And then we use that same section at the end of the tune, and that section wasn't in the original song. It just gave us a place to go with the tune. We state the melody and then go off. musically, I think we have very much of a Latin influence in a lot of stuff, percussion-wise. And so we attract people that are into Latin jazz. We attract people who are into pop stuff because we all came out of pop backgrounds, even though we have jazz roots, and jazz people too. So we kind of stretch across borders, and age-wise, the same. We get people from in their early 20s through their 40s. So it's great. It's kind of like we touch bases with everybody. When we finally got to move away from it a little and just listen to Good Night, Good Morning on its own, that's the title we gave it. We actually use the tune Good Night from the White Album, and Good Morning kind of relates to the stuff being fresh again, and not the Beatles don't exist as an entity anymore, but the music does. And when I got away from it, I could listen to it just on its own and go about doing what I do, and I really think it came out great.
This is Bart Records Club Date. Tonight we're coming to you live from Fat Tuesdays on 3rd Avenue in New York City.
That's Night on Earth, the hot new Chicago recording group putting their special touch on the classic Lennon-McCartney song, Here, There, and Everywhere. And that's just one great song from a whole album of wonderful music entitled Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music. This is one of the most captivating albums in years. Warm, listenable, Night on Earth is a band with a definite pop, jazz, and Latin edge of their own. The album contains a whole new take on several classic Beatles songs. You can pick up a copy of Night on Earth's hot new album, Good Night, Good Morning, at your favorite record store. Or you can order right now. Call 1-800-742-9911. Use your major charge card. Just $14.99 for CD, $9.99 for cassette. To order by mail, send a check to Bart Records. Call now, 1-800-742-9911. 1-800-742-9911.
I think subconsciously, when we were picking them out, it turned out that there were certain tunes that lent themselves to changing up the arrangements, changing up the harmonies, rhythmically changing them to make them fit the kind of band we are, which is a contemporary instrumental jazz group. And so certain tunes, and also there were certain favorites I had, things that a lot of them ended up being John Lennon tunes and McCartney tunes. There's a George Harrison tune also in there, but the things like Girl and Rain and Julia were tunes that I just kind of gravitated to. I just let sort of myself go and just listen to tunes for a while and see which ones seemed to speak for a different kind of arrangement.
Bob had previously done a Beatle arrangement for one of the previous incarnations of the band, and it started getting some radio play, and I thought it seemed like a very timely thing to do, to put together a CD of just jazz, contemporary jazz arrangements of Beatles tunes, and we did that, and I engineered the project and made all the production decisions along with Bob. What we tried to do is not only produce each tune, but try to capture an entire album, an entire conceptual album.
Well, Here, There, Everywhere, I think the original key is G, and it stays there. And one way to change up on a song, besides rhythmically or form-wise, by adding a bridge or adding a section, as we did on some songs, is actually to change up on it harmonically a little. So with Mike's help, we come out of the verse of the song in the original key. And for the solo, we modulate to a whole other key. And do the whole verse and bridge in the new key. And then at the end of the song, we come out and we're vamping on the new key, where he's just done his solo. And we start what's called a vamp, or a cycling, by modulating again. we cycle all these modulations back and forth as a vamp out at the end of the tune.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And welcome. We are Night on Earth, and we've just been playing some selections off of our brand new CD on Bart Records. Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music. And what you just heard was Here, There, Everywhere. And I'd like to introduce the guys in the band on percussion and drums. Hamid Drake over here on the far left. And next, Mr. Brian Derrick on bass. Next to him, el baterista, Eliseo Diaz de Cuba. And percussion also. And on saxophone, the lead voice of Night on Earth, Michael Levin. And I'm Bob Long on keyboards.
All of this wonderful music performed by Night on Earth can be found on the Bart Records release, Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music.
That's the Lennon-McCartney song Rain, presented by Night on Earth, the hot new Chicago recording group. Listen to their unique treatment of Here, There, and Everywhere. And those are just two songs from an album full of wonderful music entitled Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music. This is one of the most captivating recordings in years. Warm, listenable. Night on Earth is a band with a definite pop, jazz, and Latin edge of their own. The album contains their bright new rendition of several classic Beatles songs. You can pick up a copy of Night on Earth's hot new album, Good Night, Good Morning, at your favorite record store. Or you can order right now. Call 1-800-742-9911. Use your major charge card. Just $14.99 for CD, $9.99 for cassette. To order by mail, send a check to Bart Records. Call now, 1-800-742-9911. 1-800-742-9911.
This is Bart Records Club Date. Tonight we're coming to you live from Fat Tuesdays on 3rd Avenue in New York City.
Well, Rain is actually a little more involved. Rain was the last arrangement we did, and in many ways, it centers itself. Victor had the idea to utilize tabla. There was definitely an Indian influence in a lot of Lennon and McCartney and George Harrison's music in particular. But on the particular tune Rain, there isn't, in their version of Rain, there wasn't any tabla. We thought that this, because of the nature of the way we were approaching it, tabla would be perfect. We had used congas a lot, and Lee's playing is very focused and important on the record. But Hamid Drake, who is a good friend who we've known for years, a great percussionist and plays tabla, came in, and it kind of became the focal point of the whole arrangement. We begin with him and end with him, sort of. And so we got to use different elements that the Beatles would use, but not necessarily in the tunes that they would use in it. Well, Philip Chu, who's the head of Bart Records, and I started talking about 4 months ago about this project. He'd heard a tape of it, and he was pretty excited about it. He showed the kind of enthusiasm that Victor and I had for it and that the group had for it. And they seemed to be in a position to want to try something new, try something a little different. And so they took on this project with us. And it's great because they're a new company, and for us this was a new, fresh project. We also have, like I say, a pretty large number of original tunes, which you're going to be doing in the future. And so far, the relationship's been great. They're real energetic, and we kind of bounce off each other.
Well, that's our show. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Be sure and look for the new release from Night on Earth. Good night, good morning. Impressions of Beatles music in your favorite local record store. Hope to see you next time on Bart Records Club Day. So long from Fat Tuesdays in New York City. Bye-bye.
That's Night on Earth, the hot new Chicago recording group putting their special touch on the classic Lennon-McCartney song, Here, There, and Everywhere. And that's just one great song from a whole album of wonderful music entitled Good Night, Good Morning, Impressions of Beatles Music. This is one of the most captivating albums in years. Warm, listenable, Night on Earth is a band with a definite pop, jazz, and Latin edge of their own. The album contains a whole new take on several classic Beatles songs. You can pick up a copy of Night on Earth's hot new album, Good Night, Good Morning, at your favorite record store. Or you can order right now. Call 1-800-742-9911. Use your major charge card. Just $14.99 for CD, $9.99 for cassette. To order by mail, send a check to Bart Records. Call now, 1-800-742-9911. 1-800-742-9911.